Well, hey, Dima, how are you doing?
Hello, Rob. Loving all of this, loving the new brand. Oh my goodness.
It looks pretty good, huh?
Yes,
You
yes.
like it?
Of course I do. We've been working months to get this brand ready, and you've been
I
working day
know.
and night to get it done.
I think it looks sharp. Look, we had a lot of help. We spent a lot of time on it. I think it looks good. We got new colors, new shapes. It
Yes.
even says our social media, but it looks like I mixed that up. So let's go ahead and fix
Come
that.
around, finally.
I told you there was going to be a few bumps in the road. I'm still learning. There's like 20 more mouse clicks involved to get this looking sharp so we can bring Tyson on with some style. It's kind of, got to
Yes.
do it up.
I'm loving it all. Let's bring Tyson with some style.
Good. Well, so first, before we do that, because we want to bring Tyson on with some style, and like I said, we were going to jazz it up, right?
Yes.
So we're going to jazz it up.
Jazz it
We
up.
want to go big time here. So let's go ahead and invite the audience. If you like what you're watching, if you have comments or questions, go ahead and do that here. Go ahead and leave your comment. It will appear at the bottom, and we will address that. We want to address that. And some other cool things that we can throw up is, look, we need your help. We need your help spreading the word, especially for today's topic, especially for today's guest. We've got to share what's going on in our community, and that's where this all started, right, Dima? I mean, we were connecting with our community.
Yes.
In this case, we're talking less about Baton Rouge and more about Southwest Louisiana. So, yeah, remember to like and subscribe. That's going to be great for us. And look, show us some love too, right? We got to throw the little likes and the love up there. Show that.
Loving the love.
I love that. I love that. Look, I found this and I got super excited. So we're showing off all the graphics, but we got to get down to what we're here for, right? And that's getting Tyson on. So I would like to introduce a very good friend of mine. That is Dr. Tyson Green. He is from Lake Charles. He's been a good friend of mine for a while. In fact, my wife is a good friend with his wife. They danced, and if you ever are around them, you're going to hear that for days. So that might even get talked about tonight. Who knows? Dance seems to invade every part of my conversations there. But let's go ahead and bring our friend Tyson Green on. Come on, Tyson. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Dancing is always going to come up when it involves me and Michelle. So, I come to recognize that just about every wedding reception, anything, we're going to dance it up. So.
You know that we're going to get, it's going to invade the space. And you're going to be requested to dance if certain songs are also played, I understand.
Oh, yeah.
And, we want to hear your voice, too, a little My Sharona. That always puts a smile on our face. So, Dima, I know you need to get some words in here. Me and Tyson go way back. Tyson, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, sort of what your situation is now, and why we're here talking? Why would people be interested in hearing what you're here to talk to us about today?
Sure. I'm a Louisiana guy. I've been around Louisiana my entire life. And even though we moved around a little bit in high school, I found my way back. We're Tigers. You talked about, getting into your community and benefiting your community. That's Tiger Nation. My wife and I are both from LSU, and my wife is from right outside of Baton Rouge and Denham Springs, and so we have roots in Baton Rouge community. And I feel like with Louisiana, it doesn't matter if you're from Baton Rouge or wherever. You come together for other communities around you, and we're all a Louisiana community. So I was born and raised here, went to LSU, and then even though moved away from medical school up in Philadelphia and back to Texas and around, we made our way back to the area that we love. And unfortunately, recently with Hurricane Laura, it's a different community. It's a different community than what we're normally looking at. So definitely, that's one of the things we definitely want to talk about.
Totally. So but you didn't always live in Lake Charles. That's obviously a big topic now, but it's kind of interesting because we haven't heard much about it on the recent media, right?
Yeah.
You don't really see it on the news like you used to. And I remember for a while, the only time you ever got updates was on the Weather Channel. Is that still an issue? Do you find?
Yeah, that's something that we see, and we do take exception to that. But at the same time, we've come together and said, fine, if nobody else is going to recognize it, we'll do it ourselves. And that's what Louisiana people do. We just rally around each other in our own community, and we get it done. the Weather Channel, was the first thing that everybody saw, because they saw this big hurricane coming through, and they wanted to know what it was going to be. Is it going to be a 4 or 5, or just a measly old 2, which is still terrible, and people don't really recognize that. But when Laura came ashore, it was absolutely devastating for a large area here, and we had everybody evacuate. So we had this evacuation order going on. My wife and kids, they went to Austin, Texas. Got out of here, and they're watching the news, and on the news, all we can hear about is unsurvivable storm surge. So my kids see this, they walk through the room and see this, and that's it, he's done. So they call me crying, thinking that was it. So that was one thing that was said over and over again. That was a little rough to hear when you're actually here because you're on call and happen to be in the hospital. But after that, because we didn't get the unsurvivable storm surge, it was kind of forgotten about. You haven't seen anything even in your area, and you're 2 hours down the road. I have people calling me from Lafayette, not really knowing how bad it was. That's an hour down the road. We're devastated. I can't stress that enough. I've been through a lot of hurricanes in my life. We've seen destruction. We have never seen this type of destruction. Nothing was left unscathed in this town.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier in the backstage, as you mentioned, there's not enough media coverage about what your community has experienced. They talked about it for a few days, and then they moved on to so many other topics. So for our viewers who are not aware of what is happening, how does the community look like right now? So if you drive around, how does it look like?
Well, it's one of those things. We have a lot of things going on in the United States. I mean, obviously, and so whether it's coronavirus, the presidential debates, the wildfires that are going on, there's a lot of things that are media attention right now. And unfortunately, it was Lake Charles is on the back burner. You won't find it anywhere, even if you go and search on websites. We are still very much in destruction mode right now. We're not even quite to rebuild mode because we're still cleaning up the rubble. We have gotten power restored to a vast majority of the city right now, but we still have people right now. It was a month on the 27th. We still have people without power. Internet, I was telling Rob right before that internet, I just got it 2 days ago. So that was a month later. We still have complete destruction of pretty much all the businesses in town. People are kind enough to come in from out of town and serve food on a daily basis, water, supplies. This has been from other communities, and as far reaching from, New Orleans one way to, various areas of Texas, the opposite. And, we're very grateful for that. But at the same time, it's the after effect that we're just not getting the help that we need. We're just not seeing that media coverage like normal. And it's made, I know there's a lot going on right now, but there's nothing to see here other than a community coming together like I've never seen before. That feeling of just everybody's helping everybody. And it doesn't matter what race, nationality, all this other stuff that we hear constantly in the headlines. It doesn't matter here. We have that feeling that we felt, and I know Rob can relate to this because we were at LSU on September 12th. September 11th was awful. September 12th was the best day ever because we weren't going to let anybody come between us. And that's Lake Charles right now. We have a community that is just rallying around each other like you would never seen, but we can't do it alone. We're going to do it alone if we have to, but man, it's going to be a long, long process. I can't stress that enough, that we're just not seeing the things that we should.
Yeah, and you mentioned about schools. Sorry, Rob.
What's that? No, go ahead.
Yeah, you were mentioning also earlier about schools. So schools are back. It's tough. It's tough for the students. It's tough for the schools. I think you mentioned 97% of the schools were impacted. Yeah,
that's what they estimate, is that the 97% of the schools were in some way affected to where they couldn't reopen. Now, we just got back. My kids just got back to school over here in some capacity. My high school freshman has just started back virtually. He was going to school in Denham Springs. My middle schoolers, they had just gone back this past week, and they're getting back to normal in some way, but going to school in conditions where some of the school needs to be rebuilt. When my high schooler goes back, it's going to be nothing but temporary buildings. It's just not the same. And the public schools are really, really having a tough time getting back online, and they're working around the clock to try to get this done. But we have essentially total destruction of an energy grid, a water grid, all the school system. I mean, everybody's kind of on catch-up mode right now, and it's pretty rough.
Tyson, our theme this, for a while now has been resilience. And I think that there's two things that kind of strike me. One was that, that you said about rallying around, and that kind of reminds me of the spirit that was in Livingston Parish during the 2016 floods.
Sure.
And how, they kind of took it to themselves to take care of themselves a lot. You saw a lot about that. And now I remember getting this visual when you said how September 11th happened, but I remember that September 12th being out on the parade grounds in front of the monument, in front of the flags, and there was unity around everywhere.
Sure.
That you mentioned how people didn't care about, race or, whatever party you're in right now, and none of that's all like back here in terms of what's most important. So I found, it looks like we lost Dima. We lost Dima. Let me change something here. So,
I didn't know if you threw her out or what.
It's bad. She just moved into a new apartment. So you have better internet than her. Look at that. Suddenlink needs to step it up, but they're doing a little bit better than some. But I remember, the unity there, and like you mentioned that, I remember vividly how everybody came together. I imagine you're seeing some pretty amazing things in the community right now, some things to be proud of. What are some things that really are sparking some inspiration, feel good? I know there's a GoFundMe out there for nurses. We need to talk about that. Can you just kind of lay into it and just let it all out for us?
I think there's so many different stories and so many different, things that have happened in the community. We have, of course, McNeese State University is here. And it's amazing that these athletes took it upon themselves, and the coaches took it upon themselves to just do whatever it took. They were there at people's houses that were demolished every single day and still are there every day, just cleaning through the rubble, helping people move out, doing whatever is needed. One day they might have a chainsaw in their hand, cleaning out, trees and things like that. The next day they're cleaning out refrigerators and moving people to another house. They're doing whatever it took. And that blew me away. McNeese State athletes have stepped up like no other. I think that showed a lot of what Louisiana athletics are, because we give a lot to Louisiana athletics. We live and die by those LSU games. And it's just one of those things that I think those athletes, I got to see what those athletes think about the community and think about their fans, because they gave back. They gave back big time over here.
Wow.
I think the other, when you see people from all these different businesses that, they lost their entire restaurant, or they lost their, everything they've worked for, and they're out in their parking lot while their building behind them is rubble, over gas stoves, just making food for the community because they know how to do it. And they're just passing them out. You got doctors, lawyers, whoever that are on the street just passing food out. Everybody's the same. It didn't matter what happened before the storm. Everybody's changed now, and man, I hope it stays the same, because this community has rallied together. We've seen a true community of Lake Charles. Our mayor, Nick Hunter, has done a great job. He's tried everything he possibly can to get recognized, and he still tries every day for that. And I got to give it to him on that. it's an uphill battle, man. We've got all this media coverage of everything else, and we're not killing each other here. We're not doing things that are media worthy over here. We're not fighting over supplies. We're all coming together. So unfortunately, if I'm watching the news, I want to see stuff like that. I want to see us come together. I want to see people at different communities come together. Unfortunately, I think our coverage right now is all about when we don't come together and when we have differences. And that's disheartening to me. I would much, if we're gonna talk about people coming together in the wildfires in California, great. Put Lake Charles on the back burner. But man, when you watch something happen that is, in my opinion, not even close to newsworthy, especially not with what we're going through, and we've got to sit there and see that instead of these people coming together, these amazing stories from here. That's pretty aggravating. You hit the nail on the head with Livingston Parish. They were forgotten about. It had coverage for about 24 to 48 hours. As soon as the presidents come and they wave their little hand, they leave. It's over. We don't see anything else. And that's just
that happened too, right? That happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
That happened, basically.
Yeah, they come in town and they say hi, and we think that there's going to be coverage. And the truth of the matter is, if you want to really look into, FEMA and the amount of funds that we have at our disposal right now, it's broke. So I'm not surprised that we don't have FEMA help as much, because we don't really have a good FEMA budget and infrastructure right now. So it doesn't matter what party you belong to or what you talk about. When things like this happen, you focus in on how it can affect your town and how it's affecting your town right now. And right now, people aren't coming through, and from a national level, and we need help. Every other storm, I see FEMA trailers parked in people's driveway while they're having to rebuild their house. I see FEMA trailers parked on parade grounds in different areas that are offered, and numerous places have been offered here. I have not passed one single FEMA trailer in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and I beg people to correct me if I'm wrong on that, because I've been in the communities, I've helped as much as I possibly can on every single area, and I'm not seeing it.
That I've heard from many people that they've questioned like whether or not why it feels it sort of feels like being in a third world country. To where you would expect the United States of America would have support where it's needed right now, rebuilding the infrastructure, putting people in house. You said putting people in houses. You said earlier there were people under the interstate, man.
Yeah. If you drive through North Lake Charles right now, you will see trees that are on people's houses, through people's houses, and nobody's been there to really clean that area up. Reasoning is if something drops on my house, I'm going to call a tree service. They're going to come out and they're going to get it off my house. I'm going to pay them, and then I'm going to wait for insurance to reimburse me so that I can pay them back. Well, what happens if I don't have the funds on the front end? You're going to let it sit and rot, and you're going to try to do everything you can, and they're going to clean up their yard. They're going to do everything they possibly can. But I don't have a crane at my disposal to go and lift a tree off my house. And we're seeing a number of injuries in the ER that have come through on this, because people are doing things themselves that they probably shouldn't be doing. You don't want me up on your roof, tarping your roof. I'm not that good at that. I'm probably going to fall off, So, I've tried to help as much as I can, but people that are doing these tree services, that's a big job when you're talking about these huge trees that are down. And if they go and get volunteers to do this, people get hurt. People are falling off the roof. People are hurting themselves in many different ways with chainsaws. And we're seeing all that. So you drive to North Lake Charles, a lot of them still don't have power because the trees have knocked down their line going to their house. And they have really no help. They're trying to wait for insurance to help them out. But it's not happening, very fast. And you can't really blame the insurance. You can in some ways, but you can't really say I needed my money like first day, because that's just not going to happen. Let's be honest. They got voices. It's not realistic. But, when these people can't, prevent their house from getting worse after the storm by tarping it or removing trees, it ends up being a total loss.
Well, if y'all had any, I mean, there was another storm after Laura, so that didn't help with anything else either, right? So now, a lot of focus is the folks in I guess Alabama, Florida. I know my mom got power back like a week or so ago too. So, and talking about the trees, her tree company, the people that she could rely on were coming from Alabama. Ugh, not good.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, they gave her a date of 6 to 8 weeks to get tree service, which I guess isn't so bad. But if you're trying to wait, and my mom's much older, she's by herself, she can live with it. It's on a fence, it's on the back side of the fence, so she's not in any security, security issues there. But in your respects, there's no infrastructure. I imagine the support you do have is also very challenged, and their resources are limited. That area already had limited resources to a certain extent. Sure. If you get more rural, I mean, I even read an article that I think it was 2 weeks ago that said Lake Charles might have 50%. I think it was 48% of the gas stations up. Is that still
That's believable. Yeah, I mean, I think that's very believable. We're having more and more go online, but people in Cameron Parish, like Grand Lake, I have a friend.
One gas station up is what I heard.
There you go. That makes sense.
They had one.
We had people in Grand Lake. I don't even know if they still have power yet. As of yesterday, they didn't. They were hoping it today. You're talking about over a month later that you've been sitting on generator power, relying on gas.
Yep.
That expense goes through the roof. So, in Louisiana, we have, some ridiculous humidity. So imagine letting your house sit with no generator going, because these people couldn't get insurance to help them out or FEMA to help them out. And these houses are just riddled with mold, and the mold is out of control right now. It creates a disaster. There's no other word that I can use except a disaster that's just going to keep on going on for months and months and months, if not years. We're going to have a long, long haul. I have no doubt we're going to rebuild. I mean, I have no doubt that we're going to have a strong community that shows up. But man, it sure would be nice to give a little help on there, from other communities. And even though, after the storm, immediately after the storm, you always got people that come in and they help out, the immediate aftermath. But the long-term stuff is the stuff that the government can help out with, from tax subsidies to these small businesses and, different things from the state government and the federal government that can help out. And if we get some tax relief, then investors will come in and rebuild. If we don't, we're going to be sitting on these things and doing it ourselves. And I can't stress enough that the recognition, even though we are a community that says, who cares, we'll do it ourselves. I get it, and I get that resiliency. I love it. But in the long run, you got to have businesses that will drive the economy here. And those are going to be businesses from out of town that are going to come in and they're going to start building because they have a reason to build. And if we have that, then great. If we don't, it's going to be rough.
But Lake Charles was booming before this. It was one of the hottest areas to start. I mean, they had all of the, LNG plants coming up. So, the Cameron Parish alone was booming. Absolutely. With economic development. And what seems so, Tyson, so scary about this, you're going on a pandemic on top of a disastrous hurricane. If people weren't strapped before with expenses, funding for their business, whatever, on top of maybe now living in a tent, not having consumers to even support your business, your local business, maybe even a challenge for gas or infrastructure or utilities at this point, has got to be a crazy hindrance.
Oh.
I mean, just for not alone for survival, just even to get back to some sense of normalcy on top of what we were dealing with before, man.
Absolutely. And you said it perfect. Imagine being furloughed during COVID, if you're working at a plant, you got furloughed during COVID, and you come back, you finally got your job back, and then now the plants are down, so we got to wait till this infrastructure is rebuilt before we start making gas again. We'll furlough you again. I mean, what we're going to have over half the year that people can't work. And you're right. We were booming before COVID, before Hurricane Laura. I know COVID affected everybody, but right as soon as we're getting some good news that we're starting to turn around, now we're getting pummeled again with a hurricane. And it's going to be just rough for these people to not get back on their feet. We're not asking for a handout. We don't need a handout. We're gonna work our butts off, but just some sort of boost so that our economy can get back where it needs to be. It's going to be a long haul, man. Now, as far as one thing I wanted to mention too, we talked about healthcare workers, and I'm not talking about just me. All the doctors had to go back in some way. I had to be on call the night of, or else I would have evacuated. I didn't try to do it just to see what it was like to ride out a hurricane. I had no interest in that, and I would not do it again at all. It was not anything worth sticking around for. That's for sure. It was the scariest night of my life. So, we've got, hey, there's Dima.
Yeah.
So, when we go through a hurricane like that, and we go through something where we're not evacuating and we're in the hospital, the next day, those nurses and doctors went back on their shifts.
Wow.
We had rubble, but those nurses who lost their houses, the hospital opens back up, they got to go back to work. If you want to work, if you want your job, then you got to go back to work. So we're talking about people. Imagine being homeless, where you're a nurse that doesn't have a house. It's raining inside your house, what's left of it. And you go back. Let me grab some water. Excuse me. And you go back to work the next day. They had showers that were set up in the parking lot so that they can shower on the way to work. They can hurry up and shower, get in there, do their shift, and then go home to no home and start pulling out carpet and pulling out sheetrock and all the stuff that comes with just a nasty disaster like that. Only to work for their same wage that they had before. So these people are going to have a long haul, but they had to do it in the face of still working after. We have time to. A lot of people had time to go and get their stuff straight and try to figure things out. I had to be on call, but at the same time, I was able to shut down my clinic and try to figure things out. And so were the other doctors, and we're going to be okay. But what about the people that have continued to have to work shifts after this? Or you're going to be furloughed, or we're going to have to figure something out because we're still open. The hospitals are doing the best they can, but you still need people to work in them. So these people did it, and I'm complaining for them because they didn't complain. They did it without hesitation at all. They took care of people, and despite the people on the floors that maybe were like, man, can I get this? Can I get that? Why is it so slow and all that? And these nurses just put on a smile and continue to work through it. That's what as seeing that when I was on call and going to the hospital. After seeing that, that's what sparked the GoFundMe page, where I said, this is something that I don't want any part of this relief funding. We're going to be fine. Doctors are going to be fine. Other people are going to be fine. But after the smoke clears and these people are expected to go back to normal life, and their kids are going back to school and they don't have any clothes, their kids are going back to school, don't have any shoes, and they're having to buy all these things out of pocket. Those are things that I really want to help out with. And the GoFundMe page was set up for that. If we can get that fund, the funds are already through the roof. It's amazing. Last time I checked, it was $14,255. So we originally set the goal at $10,000. I thought I might never get there. But now we set it at 15 because it keeps on going up. We've had a tremendous response from people that has really humbled me in knowing what our community can do and what people from outside the community. When I did the interview for Newsweek, and they posted that article on our community. It was such a huge response from people everywhere. And that's the kind of response we need. Not that it's all about, this particular GoFundMe, because I'm only part of one, but man, this would go such a long way for these people that truly need it. When you give to big charities, that's awesome. I'm not trying to take away from that, but if you give to something like this, I'm going to be able to post and show you exactly who it went to, that you helped this nurse get back on his or her feet, and or this healthcare worker that continued to, go in every single day after, despite being homeless. That's to me what is newsworthy and what the media needs to show. And I will show you every single place that we spend this money, because I think it's such a worthwhile cause.
Look, I'm so glad that just even looking at the stats on this, right? This is actually quite impressive. This was started around early September. This isn't even a month old. $14,255, 93 donors, almost 100 people, with stuff going on in their lives have reached out and done this one GoFundMe. I think that's incredible. 873 shares of this. So even if you can't, donate something, share it on your social media, raise awareness, get some insight into what's going on and share that with somebody and have some dialogue. 93 people following. This is incredible, Tyson. This is look, you even here you got $1,000 donation a day ago, man. Like,
isn't that great? And that was from a medical supply company that saw this and just just give out of the kindness of their heart. But a lot of it, if you notice, there's smaller donations on there. It's like the Bernie Sanders train when he was getting like $10 donations. I'm like, this is great. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for people. We're not asking you to give $1,000. That's great if you can, but I've got $20 donations in there that are going to do just as good. And once we build this up, we are going to make a true difference, and not just a fund that you don't know what happened to your money. You're going to know exactly what happened to your money, and you're going to feel good about it when you see these stories posted. And that's what I'm excited to do, is really share it. And it's going to put a smile on my face just to give the money, but man, you will not imagine the smile that it's going to be on some of these people's faces that don't expect it coming.
Yeah,
I got to tell you, man, that's pretty incredible. Dima, what do you have to say about that? I know we lost it there for a minute.
Everything crashed, everything. So I'm glad I'm coming back from my cell phone, and I know I missed out a lot. So Tyson, I know you wrote the article that you expressed what your experience with and your family with the hurricane and losing your home, and
sure.
Many people watched it. So we just need to make sure more media is involved, because you're doing a lot of great work, and your community, it sounds like everybody's coming together. You reminded me of Baton Rouge in 2016, when everybody came together. They were fixing homes, regardless of the background, regardless of the ethnicity, which was so inspiring to see. But my question is, what are you doing to increase media coverage, and what can we do to help as well?
Yeah, I think just keep sharing. We've seen such a following from not only the Newsweek article, but just sharing from Facebook and social media, doing different interviews. I'm doing an interview with different local news stations tomorrow and Saturday, from not just local, the one from Lafayette, but there's also one of a national company that's coming in. A national media company that's looking at different areas to try to get the word out. I want Rob to call Ellen. We need to get on Ellen. We need to
Ellen.
we need to get something. But the bigger this gets, the more people I can help, and we can really make this pretty impressive. I think just one of the things that don't stop talking about it. Because as soon as we stop talking about it, as soon as we stop recognizing it, people think we're all good, and we're not. We're far from good here. We're going to be okay, but man, it'll be rough.
Well, so I know it's covering half your face there, buddy. It's almost like you have a tagline mask, like a banner mask right here. I love this.
On top of it.
I had to show this, though. This is the actual, we're going to just mention this. I'm sorry we can't see your beautiful face. Your beard, your gorgeous beard is covered right now. This is horrible. So Tyson's article,
you can do peekaboo right
Tyson's
now.
article is newsweek.com/my-family-homeless after Hurricane Laura. And then, so the link is in the comments. Check that out. Definitely had to, bring that up, man. We will continue to talk about this. We have to. It's amazing to see that there is no continued discussion on a public basis about this. But I really hope the leaders of Southwest Louisiana are stepping up, man. Do you have any gratitude to pay there?
Yeah. I mean, I think especially our mayor he's never wavered on trying to get everything that he can for us. You got Southwest Louisiana Youth Foundation. They have stepped up like crazy. Those are people that are trying to get other schools from other areas to like sponsor the school. Maybe you do like a free dress day or something at the school. Pizza party at your school if everybody brings in $2 or something like that, $5, and then they donate to a specific school. That's something I would definitely get on there and look at. If any schools around, they definitely get on there. And then also Crying Eagle Brewery here in Lake Charles is putting on a relief concert. They've stepped up. Those are local business leaders saying like, let's roll. And Eric Avery and Larry Avery and those guys, they have gotten to the point where they're like, okay, we're going to do this ourselves, and great. So they put on this concert series that's going to be amazing, October 3rd, and a flight relief concert. So back in flight, baby. So Lake Charles is going to get there. And it's not one of those things where we're sitting around waiting for people to help. We're going after it. Their GoFundMe page needs a little bit more help, considering, I'm not going to brag or anything, but we got 14,000.
You can brag. It's Eric Avery and the Crying Eagle, guys. Come on. You can brag just a little bit. But
I'm sure it's going to go up now that they're going to be serving beer. I don't serve beer on my relief page. So, but we'll get there. And I think that this concert, and the different things that are going on around here, the different business leaders from restaurants to whoever, they're stepping up. And we see our local business leaders, they didn't leave and, go hide somewhere else until the aftermath. They're working hard and they're sticking around, and people aren't leaving. They're hanging out and they're working hard to get us back where we need to be.
Good point. Dima, we brought up this GoFundMe page. Tyson is outperforming it by a little bit, right? Just a little bit. But this was something really cool. If we were in Lake Charles, I would totally take you here. Okay, Dima, this is an amazing spot. Friends of ours and local entrepreneurs, people that really give back to the community there, they have this great place where they make beer and do cool stuff like, oh, we lost Dima again. Oh.
She's so, I don't know if it's me or she just, and she could blame it on the internet, but
maybe she's not drinking this month. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what
maybe she's heading to Crying Eagle right now. She's heading to Crying Eagle.
She is totally Crying Eagle.
Yes.
Right now.
But yeah, I think she's definitely getting ahead on it. It doesn't start till 11 a.m. October 3rd. So if she left to go, she's going to be a little early, but that's okay. Yeah.
Dima already left. She's got her mask on. She is heading down to the Crying Eagle Brewery right now. Dima, send me a spot.
Yeah, because it's a good one. It's going to be a good one.
I want some of their amazing food. So
great food, great beer, and great people. And they put together a lineup with these acts that are going on, man. These guys, these bands that they put together are amazing. It's not one of those things where it's going to be like high school battle of the bands. We're talking about some good stuff here. And people are going to have a great time, but they're going to also, the great part about it is if you come from out of town, and you come to Crying Eagle, and you're going to have to drive through some of Lake Charles, and you're going to look around going, I didn't know about any of this. And why am I not seeing this all over every single news feed? Because this is awful. And there's no other way to put it. I mean, you know, you look at hurricanes, you look at tornadoes, you look at, I mean, it looks like a tornado. It passed through every street in Lake Charles. And we're not talking about some shingles here and there and some blue tarps here and there. We're talking about total destruction of a ton of buildings. And if it's not total, it's the majority are just non-usable facilities, both, you know, commercial and residential. So it's bad, man. And you know, we can get on here and joke and laugh, and God knows I needed that. You know, so I really appreciate you having me on it. But it's one of those things that, you know, as soon as we get off of this, I go back to down the road where I'm trying to avoid some of the down power lines and the debris and things like that. You know, passing up the trucks that are picking up all the debris that's piled up in the ditches, and, you know, people's houses that are bulldozed, and, you know, people cleaning up to get to work, only to have, you know, not near the percentage of patients that we usually have, because we're treating emergencies and people that are here. You know, and
are people getting the care that they need right now?
I think they are. I think our medical community stepped up. It's been pretty impressive as far as the medical community is concerned. It's just one of those things that you know, you don't blame them. People got out and they evacuated and they didn't come back. You know, and they're somewhere else right now. So, you know, we wish them well, but, you know, as soon as we get back online and we start rebuilding, you know, we need people to come back. We need them to have a reason to come back. We need other people that have never lived here before to see, wow, you know, Lake Charles is going to be a booming place in the future because of what the state and federal government are going to be doing for that area to promote industry and to promote our economy. And if they don't have that, and we're looking around just for people here to rebuild after they've been kicked while they're down, it's going to be rough, man. And, you know, I have all the faith in the world in our community, and we're going to come back from this. We're going to come back strong, with or without the help. But like I said, man, you know, it sure would be nice to get a boost here and there.
You know, and all I can think of is, you know, if we want to have businesses come back, we want to have people come back. If people want to move back to Lake Chuck, right? It's going to take people putting a little faith in what it can be, not what's there right now. Right. That's kind of hard to see based on what you're saying, that, you know, in 15 minutes or so, when the camera goes off, you go back to reality where, you know, people are still dragging wet carpet out of people's houses. They might not have a house, so the roof is broken. I mean, I even wonder if storms are still happening, if y'all getting any rain, you know, or something now and in between where someone can get some relief. This is obviously an issue. So, and to get people back, they need to see infrastructure. They need to see improvement. They need to see inspiration. This has got to be
right.
An extremely challenging time for that area, brother. I want to tell you, I love you. I always have, always will. This is I think it's important that we bring the reality and the brevity or the gravity of this situation so people can kind of understand. But, you know, before we get on to that, you were talking about needing a laugh. I got one for you right here in this comment. I wonder who wrote this. Ta-dow!
Oh, wait, there it is. Oh, yeah, I wonder. You know, I think your wife's watching. I'm not sure, but, you know, she always wanted to have a talk show with me, and she didn't mention you. So, you know, now look who's got the last laugh on this. And all she can do is comment from the background.
You can switch up the live stream. Y'all don't need a live stream. You need a dance stream of Michael Jackson videos and My Sharonas on repeat.
Sure. You know, we can liven up any wedding, you know, reception. We do bar mitzvahs, you know, whatever you want. I miss Michelle. I miss you. Man, I miss Baton Rouge. I miss that area. Hey, look, there's my wife.
I couldn't help it.
So
I heard y'all were a little bit reminiscent, so I said, okay, it's time. I'm coming in.
This is the time. It's so good to see your face. Listen, I love you. If you are anywhere or watching this at any time, you need to see these beautiful people that I'm so lucky to have in my life. Thank y'all for taking the time right now. I know everything is kind of difficult. Thank y'all for taking the time to put some smiles on your faces. And look, I wonder who's still watching.
Michelle's the one that told me to do it. I said, Michelle, I so want to bust in there. She said, do it. You can be the special guest.
Like permission. That's all she ever did when I was doing live streams starting out. So totally fine. Love her face. Love your faces. I thank y'all for sharing this. You know, I was showing pictures earlier, and Tyson, I got to be honest, I was almost willing to take it off because you're sharing a piece of you that's so, like Hillary. These pictures of your house on Newsweek.com. This is kind of serious.
Yep.
I just thank you for sharing this with us, because you guys have a lot of challenges ahead, but I also know that you've got support where you need it, where you want it, you will get it. And I hope that by any means, if you need anything from us, you'll let us know. But good Lord, this lady is blowing us up now. Now I can't get her off the live stream. Go figure. Can someone ban my wife from the live stream? She's not home. I don't have control over this.
No, Rob, I want to thank you for bringing this to light, because it's something that we're asking for media coverage. We're asking, for people to recognize it, not because we're asking for a handout. Everybody's working their butts off here, but it sure would be nice to see it every once in a while, that people are recognizing what we're going through, and just sympathizing with us and just saying, I understand where you're coming from. We're here if you need us. And if more people would see that, I think that they would understand kind of what's going on. That it's going to be a very, very long time before we're back up and running.
Hillary, what do you have to say, my friend? What do you want to give some gratitude? Do you want to tell us what's on your brain, on your mind, what's happening in your world right now?
Oh, there's so much, but definitely there's been so many people that have come from, parts of Texas. I mean, all states, all over Louisiana that have been helping. They've been amazing. They're still here. In fact, today we saw a line. I don't even know how long it was. Somebody giving away free barbecue. It's amazing. It's great. But I feel like those are like I say local, but they kind of know what's going on. And like Tyson touched on earlier, the rest of the country really has no clue. They have no idea the devastation that this community is facing right now. And I know Tyson touched also on schools, but we had 97% of our public school system with substantial damage. I mean, that's a lot. And we're a really large school system. And that's a lot of kids right now that are either displaced, going to other schools. In fact, Michelle was, your wife was our oldest geometry teacher for a little while. But also, you talk about thanks. There have been schools all the way from San Antonio to parts of Florida that have taken in, that I know of, that have taken in so many of our kids and our students, whether it be a week or they're still there, with open arms, no questions asked, invited them in, welcomed them, and gave our children of this community a piece of normalcy that they've been missing since March because of COVID and now Hurricane Laura. So all of the schools out there that offer that to all of our kids, I mean, that alone was probably one of the biggest things for parents, because it helped give us something, to look forward to. And our kids had a sense that everything was okay, and they were at school and making new friends. And it really definitely helped out. I mean, for us, and I know for other people as well.
Well, and you were a school teacher, right?
Yeah.
It's got to feel good to know that, your little ones are taken care of. I know we are. I swear to you, when she told, it was great to hear the news, but it was not so great for the circumstances.
Right, I know.
To be her student. I know in a perfect world that would be there. And that was so special. We will always know that we had that, she had that moment that cannot be taken away.
I know, I love it. She was the first one to ever babysit Jackson at 2 months old. But now she's teaching him geometry. So, it is. It is. Like, the circumstances aren't great, but so many wonderful educators have come into these kids' lives and have given them, even if it's been 2 or 3 weeks, people they're not going to forget. They've given them something to hold on to and to look forward to.
Well, and so you have family in Livingston Parish. You brought, your kids attended there for a while. I mean, that's got to feel good to at least go back home and at least know that you're accepted. But they were through something like this in 2016. So
Right.
they obviously know how it feels and welcoming you.
Yeah. Yeah, Livingston Parish was absolutely amazing. They're still doing fundraisers.
During a pandemic, no doubt. Like, we didn't even say that. That's more virtual school. That's more in person. They didn't account for that. There's more meals. There's a lot that goes into that. That's amazing logistically and open-heartedly. They're willing to welcome y'all for that. I think that's incredible. Right. You said like all the way to Florida. That's insane.
Yeah. So I know some people that are in school in Florida, and I know there's others too. I mean, that we just don't know about. But these are just personal friends from San Antonio to Florida that I know of.
I mean, that's not hard to believe. I remember during Katrina, my mom was going to Jacksonville, wound up not go, and then wound up in Dallas. So stuff,
right.
Stuff happens, right?
Right. Yeah.
And Chinese stars that start. And then Mother Nature comes along and neck checks.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was definitely a Hurricane Laura neck check because, my gosh. Well, I think that, Michelle and the whole school system, I was really impressed with, just these people that just would open up their schools, especially during this time. Now
she's still going.
Yeah, he told us, Michelle, he told us all about how you talked all about us there. Yeah. No, I think that, those educators definitely should be commended because they're being asked to do things that are totally different right now during COVID. And they're taking it and they're running with it. And then, hey, by the way, now we got some Hurricane Laura evacuees. Can you take those too? And they'll just be in the mix with you too. I mean, that's rough. I get it. So we just got to keep on going. And I think that now our schools are starting to get back where they need to be. And we're trying to get back online either virtually or some in person. But like she said, it's going to be a long time before we have the infrastructure here to support that. So we might have had, a lot of families that are displaced indefinitely. And you can't blame them. It's just one of those things that we got to deal with. Bringing in portable buildings. Well, you're doing that during COVID too. So now we got to take that into account. And it's just a perfect storm, literally.
Well, I mean, what are things looking like in terms of getting supplies? I mean, if you're not only trying to now battle a disaster, and I know it kind of makes for things maybe not being as close as in proximity as they were, but I mean, there's still a threat there. Sure. And you're a doctor, you know how that stuff goes. So, I mean, is there a lack of PPE or supplies in general on top of disaster supplies? There's
already been a lack of PPE with COVID and all that. So it was, and then you shut down deliveries going to the hospital and places like that. Now we've got that on top of it. So, there's a constant lack of supplies when it comes to the medical industry across the board with COVID. But now, we're just starting to get back where we can get deliveries in. We have a lot of elective surgeries that haven't, started back yet. And you think, oh, well, they're elective. We're not talking about elective where it's cosmetic. A lot of people think that that's what that means. What about a total knee replacement that you can't get back to work? You can't even walk because it's killing you.
That people were putting off during early COVID and everything else. It's just
one more thing, that we're having to add to the mix. And so, people that just had surgery days before the actual storm came through, what happened to them? Well, they had to evacuate, and we had to rely on other medical communities to take care of our post-op patients. That's tough. So.
This is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I mean, Hillary, do you have any, what are some ways that you know of for people to help? What are you seeing? I know we talked earlier about the folks at McNeese, all those athletes that were doing an amazing job.
They were amazing.
That was incredible.
They were amazing. I've never seen a group of individuals like that come together and just, those girls were ripping out carpet like they do it every day of their life. From anything they were asked, they did it. And they were all over the community, not just, it was just anywhere. It was just amazing to see them come together. I feel like it's Rob, it's like every day something new comes up, where it's, okay, we have enough of this, now we need that. And then the next day we need some, you just never know what it's going to be, but just to have available, people that are willing to give a hand to help. It's not always about money, in some cases it is, but it's about just,
That's a good point.
Yeah. People need help, and in so many ways. Just every story varies, but yeah, those McNeese athletes, and they're still going strong. They were amazing. They were superstars in all of this.
I remember ripping out carpet during the May 8th flood in New Orleans, and that's how I made some money on the side. That's not easy work. They're moving furniture. They're in poor conditions. I heard. Are you still having a mosquito problem? Can you talk about that?
Oh my gosh! Well, I was just outside with the kids trying to keep them quiet for this, and we're all eating alive. And I'm like, we're going in. Yeah, it's insane. Like our swimming pool now looks like a pond. It's literally growing like mosquitoes.
It's like, where the hell are they coming from? There's no trees.
It's horrible.
The entire city was a marsh for a little while, so it was just, going duck hunting in the marsh, and it's humid and hot, you're going to get eaten alive. And that's basically what Lake Charles was for a little while. And so it's still really bad. We're not even close on that. It'll take a little while before we get the spraying going and, for them to get back online with that.
Wow. Yeah, well, Eric, you were talking about Crying Eagle. Eric came in town. He was displaced too. I had folks that were in Sulphur that I hadn't talked to since college, and they wound up moving in Sherwood, close to us. And I recommended, I was like, you've got to go to Broadmoor for daycare. They'll help, because they were needing relief during the day for work, or who could work because he was driving back. That's when you think about the displacement and how we were talking from Florida to way out there in Texas. This is so significant, and I feel like it's critical for us to raise more awareness, get people talking about this some more, and we obviously need to get y'all support. We need to get y'all some support. And are there any other ways you can think of us to give back? If someone has extra supplies or extra PPE or bug spray, is that something that we should drop off? Do you know places accepting that we could share?
I think you get them in touch with me, and you're welcome to do that. We'll make sure it gets to where it needs to be. There's so many different areas that they can donate supplies and things like that. But a lot of these places are getting overrun where they don't have enough volunteers to help out. So we'll make it happen. We'll figure something out. But I think that after the dust settles, we'll be able to, relay to you all the different people that we helped with this GoFundMe, and you'll be able to see the result of what you're doing here and what the awareness that you're bringing to show people that it's all about, how the community of Louisiana will rally around each other, and not just a Lake Charles thing. It's a Louisiana thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got to remember our folks in Cameron Parish and everyone else who was affected. That storm went all the way up into Arkansas and beyond. This is it's quite impactful, and I just want to say thank you. So if anyone watching has any ways to give back, share or support the families that are trying to recover in this area, please drop a comment. In our comments here on this post, you can contact us. We'll get you in touch with Tyson. Dima and I can put something together too, and we'd love to see what we can do there. Thank you all for sharing your night tonight with us. I really want to say that, I know we're friends, but this is still tough times. And for y'all to put those beautiful smiles on your faces tonight and share that with me and everyone else. And for the short time that Dima got a chance to be on the show, I don't think she liked the graphics at all.
No. She's at Crying Eagle right now.
Yeah, she's in line. Wait.
It's a new dance move. Eric's going to love it. But look, I love y'all. Thank you for being on tonight. And, please obviously give your family our love. And thank you again for sharing. Is there any last thoughts that you would like to share before we sign off?
Thanks for giving us a smile tonight.
Yes.
We haven't had too many of
Yes,
those. So,
thanks for the
I
laugh.
miss you.
It was.
I miss you. We need. I know y'all are strapped for time. I know things are rough, but every time I get a chance to talk to you guys, I always smile. So
Thank you.
I just want to say that.
thanks,
Just
buddy.
think of banyan trees and
And the lady that thinks I work in Wall Street.
unscripted travel itineraries.
You gotta love it. We got too many stories, but
Yeah.
hopefully we look back on this one and we showed that we did a lot of good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope so, and I think the way that we can do that is by showing a strong and resilient Southwest Louisiana coming back online, and families like you going back to doing what you can do. So living life, supporting your family, and giving back to the community that you're in right now. That's in need of so much. So thank y'all for sharing this. I love y'all. Dr. Tyson Green, everybody. And I know Dima's with us in spirit. And also, I would say the Doctor of Awesomeness, Miss Hillary Green, as well. I will go ahead and
Don't forget Michelle.
And don't forget Michelle.
and also, do you have another comment?
Oh, yeah, ma'am. you work
Got
here.
another comment. What am I talking about? Ma'am, do you work here? I think that was in aisle 5B.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's right. You somehow look like Walgreens.
She won't wear that red polo anymore.
No, it was the little black part. Yeah. Hey, I knew where everything was in my Walgreens.
Between the Walgreens red polo and Michelle's missing red shoe, I think we have a lot of good. We have enough for the next live stream with Tyson. So thank y'all for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, buddy.
Love you.
Love y'all. Have a good one. Stay safe. Bye, everybody.
Bye.